Hey everyone, today's episode is brought to you by a thin slice of cake. New Year's resolutions, huh? Gotta keep that weight in control, but there's all these January birthdays. What are you gonna do when Karen from HR comes around with that office birthday cake and says, hey Douglas, do you want a slice of birthday cake? Here's what you do. The day of that special birthday bash, you right there in the morning, you go onto our app, the Thin Slice of Cake app, and you enter your address and the time of the birthday celebration. And one of our Ginsu engineers, Jason or Todd, will come out and they'll slice you off a nice portioned piece of cake. Not excessive, not a big piece because you're going to have some later. Just one regular sized piece so that you can maintain that weight loss resolution. And then by summer, you'll be thanking Jason and Todd. Because you'll say, hey, thanks for the help. That's a thinly sliced piece of cake from the makers of Tiny Pie, another Donna Fart Industries innovation. Hello and welcome to The Critical Breakdown, the podcast where we start at the bottom of Rotten Tomatoes and work our way to 100% fresco. I'm Scott.
And I'm Scott's twin brother, Max, and today we're talking about Twins, rated 34% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was a big bombshell for our listeners, so we're twins.
Yeah. We look nothing alike.
It was just like this movie, right?
Yeah. It's the basic premise.
Yeah, ripoff. Hey, Happy New Year, 2017, right?
2017. It's been a rough end of the year here for this industry.
Yeah, out with a bang, am I right?
Out with a bang. So... We're both huge Star Wars fans, so gonna give a moment of silence to Carrie Fisher. So Scott.
Yeah, hey.
What you been up to?
Not much, man. You know, Christmas, New Year's.
Yeah.
Lots going on, but I had to get some time to watch some special movies.
What'd you watch?
A couple 2016 releases, you know, ahead of my Best of the Year posts. I watched Fences, Denzel Washington's directorial debut.
Your boy.
Your boy, indeed. Fantastic. Really gripping.
It's supposed to be good. It looks good.
Yeah, it's based on the play that Denzel Washington and Viola Davis starred in as well by Augustus Wilson, I believe is his name, who also got writing credits in the movie. You can definitely tell it was based on a play because it's a lot of long shots in one setting with characters entering and exiting screen left and right, which is kind of cool. But I thought it was really well done. It's a very gripping character study of the main character there, of Denzel Washington's character. And Viola Davis was insane. She was awesome.
Anytime I see an actor or actress doing the snot face,
total ugly cry, yeah.
I'm like, that's talent.
Yeah, that scene in the movie, I honestly had like 40 consecutive seconds of goosebumps, which might be a record.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
You should enter that into the Guinness Book of World Records.
I called them up, but they won't return my calls anymore.
42, Scott.
Yeah.
42 seconds.
No, it was really good, though. It was really good. It's just a really cool story. So if you like very dialogue-driven movies about the layers of a character and a historical time period, that might interest you.
It's like 2 on the list right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I watched Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. Was that any good?
It was okay. So it was Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
And I like the Coen Brothers, but I don't like their comedies so much. Like, I love No Country for Old Men. I really like Fargo as well, which I know is a dark comedy, but this is trying to be more of an out-and-out comedy.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it very much. Like, the comedic moments of it were not very funny, in my opinion. Yeah. And it's a massive ensemble of very unrelated characters that they sort of tie in towards the end, but the whole story and the comedic moments in the story just didn't hit for me. I will say this, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Han Solo, Nuhan?
Yes, that guy.
Alden Eichenreich.
It sounds about right.
He plays a character, I believe his name was Hoagie, and he was very funny, and he was outstanding. He was the highlight of the movie for me.
Do you think he'll be a good Han?
Sure.
Do you still have zero opinion on the Han Solo movie beyond Donald Glover being in it?
I love that Donald Glover's in it.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be made per se, but
I'm with you.
I love Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who did 21 and 22 Jump Street, who did Clone High. They've done... Actually, I don't know if they did Clone High now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, they've done excellent things, so I'm on board because it's them.
I'm hoping it ends up being more of just a well-rounded scoundrels movie, and Han Solo's in it. But all they're calling it now is the Han Solo movie.
So you're hoping it's less a focused story on Han and more just...
There's already a focus story on Han. It's episodes 4 through 7, so...
Damn.
Don't need more of a character arc for him.
I agree.
But Lando, I could always use more Lando.
Yeah, and Dong Lover as Lando.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They added Khaleesi's that cast.
Oh, yeah. But we don't know who she's playing yet?
Yeah, and I'm pretty neutral on her after Terminator Genesis. Yeah. But I still love her as Khaleesi's, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Should be interesting.
So as a follow-up to a previous discussion, I watched La La Land.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. It's I didn't really have a stake in the movie going into it other than I like the people in it.
Yeah.
Like we discussed the trailer before.
Sleepy
trailer. It took me a lot to get through it. When I finally watched it, I was like, it looks all right, whatever.
Did you have any trouble in the actual movie?
Not specifically. With all the focus on jazz, I felt, and this is just a personal thing, like it was cool that they were in old clubs and stuff like that, but I would have liked to see more, I guess, interaction with the characters.
Yeah.
All the jazz people were just, I mean, besides like John Legend, they were just background characters, and even then they weren't like that well rounded. I thought it would have been interesting to see more them play into it. But really, I mean, there's barely any characters.
It's not their story, really. I mean, it's a two-person story when you think about it.
So I can't like gripe about that, but my own personal feelings on it was the conflict wasn't high enough for me coming into the third act. Relationship problems can work as a big climax, but it just wasn't there enough for me.
No.
So I liked it. I thought the story arcs were good, and I loved the ending song and piece and everything that happens with the end of the movie. Yeah. But for me, it was just like I would have liked a little bit more risk with their conflict towards the end.
Okay.
So, because I was just like, I don't know, I didn't feel enough either way with it. You know? You
weren't rooting for them, you know?
I mean, I thought it could have been easy to keep in touch over everything that went on. Spoilers, that they're a couple. They don't end up together. But it kind of looks at that. But I mean, these days, long distance with cell phones and all that, you can make it work.
Yeah. But I agree that you can make long distance work.
Yeah.
But I didn't really... I thought the conflict was compelling enough. Because, I mean, there's one thing to be long distance, it's another thing to be, like, a traveling musician and stuff, and I don't know.
Well, for me, it was just, like...
I thought it was easy to relate to the conflict, because it wasn't, like, these strange problems that are, like, About Time is a romance movie that I really like, and a lot of the conflict comes from him being able to travel through time.
Yeah.
So that's tougher to relate to. But this, it was like, yeah, they're both very busy. Like, as a busy person, I'm like, yeah, I get that that's tough. So maybe that's why I liked it.
But I guess for me, it's just like, he's, a working musician by that point where it's an issue. And she cuts straight to, you're giving up on your dreams.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, also, I'm earning money for the first time in my life. It's just like, both of them use no tact to approach it, which is normal. I mean, that's real life. But it was just like a simple, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Could have alleviated that whole plot. So I guess for me, I wasn't invested enough in neither of them being able to talk about it like normal people. So I don't know. But like I said, I like the film. I just, for me, that one portion, that plot point just wasn't strong enough for me. So.
I gotcha. What else have you been watching?
Well, our buddy, former podcast guest, Joe Leonard, sent me a really weird link, which he sent to you as well.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one who opened the link.
In fairness, describe the link.
It was called Days Like These, Batteries Not Included. And he didn't really, I don't think he really gave any context.
He just sent the link out.
Yeah. And I opened it, and it is a completely, like, British remake of that 70s show.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just, like, British characters instead of the standard Midwestern American characters.
No.
The main character looks like Emma Stone. It's a guy, though, so it's
and he's
weird.
like the Eric Foreman.
Yeah. It was just weird, man. It was like stepping into another dimension.
Yeah, I didn't really watch that 70s show, so I didn't really explore the clip. And it's also like a 20-minute
Yeah,
YouTube
it's like a
videos,
full
so
episode.
that's a big investment, you know.
I will say the quality of it is really poor, like the image quality, so it looks more like a 70s TV show.
Maybe that's what they were going for.
None of the jokes really worked for me compared to that 70s show, which I do like a lot, so...
I see how that relates to today's episode, then.
Well, also it made me think of another program called Spaced, which has Nick Frost...
Simon Pegg. Yeah, it's Edgar Wright's old show.
Yeah,
right?
and a lot of people love Spaced. It's a good show.
Yeah.
They tried to remake it for American audiences using, an American cast. The only person I remember being in it is Will Sasso.
Yeah.
And it's...
Yeah, he was one of the big Vine comedians, right?
Yeah, one of the first comedians to embrace Vine.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but...
Yeah. Well,
Scott
and then he was
said
on Mad TV.
He was on Mad TV, yeah. But yeah, that was just bad. And that's what days like these reminded me of.
Yeah, you showed me some clips from the American Spaced, and it just didn't...
It's just
why?
A lot of... It's kind of...
Was this like post The Office, where it was like, let's take British things
Spaced
and
make
them American?
And I was about to say, it's kind of like the first season of The Office, where a lot of the awkward humor that worked really well in the British office didn't really work in the American office.
Yeah.
Once they let Michael Scott take the reins and kind of do more of his own thing with that character, Scott, Steve Carell.
Yeah, and really open up the writing and stuff.
Yeah.
That's when it came into its own.
It exactly became its own show. And when you do the shot-for-shot remake...
That's a tough sell.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because all you're going to do is think of the other version, and if the other version's pretty good, that's tough.
Yeah. And also, if you're using a show that's in the same language, you could just export it. Like it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, there's no need for that.
The Office is kind of like the one huge success story in that
battle. Yeah, but it's so different.
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
So.
They let it be different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of other examples. But those are three pretty substantial ones.
Wasn't House of Cards an old British show?
It is actually.
It's not a shot for shot remake, but
they let it grow.
Yeah. It became its own thing,
and that's like with Parliament and everything too. So it's a different system within it. So I'm sure they. Yeah. And it's also, I think, like a 20-year difference in when they made it.
Yeah, oh no, I mean it's just.
No, but you're right.
It's just a remake. Yeah. It's not a shot for shot, but
which is a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, in that sense, there probably is a couple more that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, no, there certainly is. Top
I know
tier.
They. I've mentioned it before. I think they tried to bring Doctor Who to the States in the 90s, which they could already just bring it over, but they tried to launch like a Fox BBC show.
No,
that was weird. So
it sounds weird. But Doctor Who, the British show, also sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
So.
You been up to anything else lately?
Well, we've had the holidays, so...
Yeah.
I think when Casey Affleck was on SNL, I watched his Dunkin' Donuts commercial like 100 times.
That was pretty funny.
It was hilarious. I don't even like SNL that much.
Yeah.
But I love me some Basie.
I was just showing you an SNL clip where Emma Stone's holding a hot dog saying,
that was pretty funny, though. Yeah.
I don't know why it makes me laugh.
It's because it's Emma Stone, because everyone loves Emma Stone.
Yeah, but the rest of the skit isn't that funny, so I guess it really is just her.
Yeah.
So.
No, you been up to anything else? What was your favorite Christmas gift?
Let's see. I got a 60-sided die that was really good, but it was edged out just a little bit by a analog film camera that I got. So I'm pretty excited about that. Just a photo camera.
Yeah, interesting.
But what about you?
I got a crock pot, which I like, but... my favorite gift is honestly I got a new pair of slippers, and I love wearing slippers.
Slippers are good. Bedroom slippers?
What's the difference between...
I really don't know. Are they the big fuzzy kind?
No.
Just like casual slipwear?
I mean, I don't want to brag.
Casual slipwear. What are you bragging about?
They're Tempur-Pedic.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I'm not wearing them out of the house. They're
Baby got back problems.
So, twins.
Damn, dude.
Oh, yeah. Where am I supposed to go? Baby got back problems. Where am I supposed to take it?
I don't know.
I say we take it to Twins.
Let's take it to Twins.
What's the plot synopsis for Twins?
A physically perfect but innocent man goes in search of his long-lost twin brother, who is a short-statured, small-time crook.
Oh, there's a log line.
That's literally the plot of this film.
Yep.
That's it. We can just finish right here.
So. Yeah, it's like both the best and the worst idea for a movie ever. Because it's perfect. You bring two opposites together, but there's not really a movie there.
It's like a double fish out of water story, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how we ended up picking this one.
Yeah, this was like a Hail Mary pass that got through. We, for the longest time, were debating between Final Destination, the original one, and the Mortal Kombat movie from the 80s. And we were going back and forth. 90s, excuse me. We were going back and forth. I think Max was very team Mortal Kombat, and I was team Final Destination. We watched both trailers probably 5 times, and we just couldn't decide. And then, I forget why, but we were just looking up, and we saw that Twins was on the same percentage. And we're like, maybe it's Twins.
Yeah.
And then
I shot out a group text message to like 8 of our friends, and I think 6 or 7 responded with Twins. Yeah. And so I was like, all right.
There it is.
Twins it is.
Yeah.
And I mean...
Yeah, I'm happy. I think Twins is fine.
It was enjoyable. Yeah. Every week, my wife manages to mention, this is the best movie you guys have watched yet. I'm like...
Does she?
Yeah.
She's not still on Team Joe Dirt?
Well, you got to think. Every week we watch a better movie, technically.
Technically.
So I pointed that out to her. But this was definitely...
This is up there.
Yeah. I would say this was as enjoyable to watch as the last one we watched.
The Butterfly Effect?
Butterfly Effect. Except that one was funnier unintentionally.
Ironically.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
But it's, the plot moves. You can follow it.
Yeah. It's got the Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
They're your twins.
The wonderful Kelly Preston.
Ooh la la.
Who steals the show here. This is her breakout role, so...
Yeah, it is.
I mean, she had been in some stuff maybe before, but nobody knew who she was. So
well, they do now.
They do now. And then there's some random people in here. David Caruso played like a car lot attendant.
Yeah, he's from...
He's from NYPD Blue.
Yeah, NYPD Blue.
Bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Chloe Webb played Kelly Preston's sister in this. Yep. And she was in the Sid and Nancy movie. She played Nancy.
Oh, okay.
So... Some other random folks, some older actors that I honestly can't remember their name, but they've been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Recognizable faces. Yeah. Another recognizable face was directed by Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters.
Yep. Ghostbusters.
So he knows how to make a good movie.
He knows how to make a comedy.
The thing you gotta... What we need to acknowledge with comedies is most of them are probably... I can't give an actual stat here, but a lot of them are rated rotten on Rotten Tomatoes because comedies are lowbrow.
Yeah.
And just because a comedy's low, like Joe Dirt, we thought was funny. I laughed at least...
Joe Dirt's delightful.
What, 3 times? 4 times?
You laughed 4 times,
4 times?
my friend.
So, at that
Actually,
level,
when you say that sentence, it doesn't sound that impressive.
But at that low level, it just shows.
I laughed dozens of times.
Yeah, dozens.
Can we watch Joe Dirt?
We might do a look back one day.
Yeah, a Joe Dirt retrospective.
When we do our clip show.
Yeah.
But no, with a comedy, your best comedies definitely can be fresh and rated high, but then a lot of your comedies are just towards the middle. If there's a bell curve, there'll probably a lot of them, just in general, would be there because comedies are stupid on purpose.
Yeah.
But your good comedies are definitely good and rated pretty well, so.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's plenty, like, if you looked up a bunch of comedies, you'd probably find them weird ratings. It just depends. I don't know. Like I said, there's no math behind that, no research. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And my mind automatically goes to math and research.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe.
What else didn't we watch?
We did not watch Battleship.
With Rihanna?
With Rihanna and with
Was Channing Tatum in
Taylor Kitsch.
Taylor Kitsch, that's who it is.
That'd have been our third movie in the last 5 that have starred a pop star.
Yeah.
Because Alicia Keys was in Smoking Aces, and then that's the whole reason Takers was made.
Have we still avoided a Taylor Kitsch film?
Yeah. What other ones would we have crossed?
Isn't John Carter down here?
John Carter's in the 50s.
Oh, okay. I feel like we should.
I want to watch John Carter.
I feel like we should have hit
bad.
a Taylor Kitsch film.
I think that's the big story with him, but I think there just hasn't been enough things he's been in.
It's just middling.
Yeah. Because I can barely think of other movies he's been in.
I know Wolverine Origins.
Oh yeah,
John Carter.
That's such a we did pass that one. That's such a small role from him too, though. Yeah. So I don't know. Clear Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose. Taylor Kitsch. You always have that. A View to Kill.
View to a Kill.
Yeah, it's a James Bond movie. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I want to watch it now.
It's Roger Moore, James Bond.
In the 80s.
80s. It has a really good Duran Duran theme song.
Yeah, we watched that intro. That was really cool.
If anything, if we could go back in time, we probably could have picked that. It would have been, I think, just as entertaining as Twins.
The aforementioned Final Destination in Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
Is the internship the one where Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson work at Google? Or is that the one where
Robert De Niro?
Robert De Niro works at Anne Hathaway's company?
I believe that one's the intern.
Okay.
And the internship is probably...
Yeah, the Vince Vaughn one.
Yeah.
The Robert De Niro, the intern one, I was watching it one day in a hotel, and I watched like an hour of that movie, and I didn't hate it. There was nothing likable about the movie, but he's just a charming dude, you know? He's just bumbling around like an old man.
I'm just glad you said that versus like Dirty Grandpa. So
yeah, well, that looks unwatchable. But you know what? If the intern is on your flight to San Francisco this spring, throw it on.
All right, man. When I go out there this spring, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Project Almanac.
That is the time travel one, right?
That's a time travel found footage high school movie.
That sounds like it could be a unique, interesting idea. The trailer quickly proves that it's not.
Yeah, quickly disproves, dissuades you of that illusion. For some reason, I was watching just a bunch of random movie clips on YouTube the other day, and on the autoplay, a Project Almanac clip came up, and it was so bad. It was like they were beating up another bully using time travel. It was just...
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
That sounds Jumper level bad.
You never want to go full Jumper.
Yeah, never.
Yeah. But you know, at least there's some interesting movies on this line.
Yeah, you skipped Breaking and Entering.
Yeah, because we just watched the trailer and I already forget everything about it other than Jude Law.
Jude Law.
I know a laptop was stolen, and I think they were watching TED Talks.
Yeah, which is weird because you think it'd be like porn or something. Like it's just tons of like weird granny porn. He's like, I have to get my laptop back.
Yeah, destroy it.
So
that's a movie that's outdated, but he'd have all his granny porn on the cloud. Dropbox.
So
the movie did pretty well at the box though.
Yeah.
A hit, I would say.
Definitely.
$15 million budget. It opened at $11.2 million, ahead of The Naked Gun and Scrooged. And it was December 9th, 1988.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
it was not
Naked Gun?
The first one.
Okay, wow.
It was not the opening weekend of Naked Gun or Scrooge.
Okay,
they were just
that makes
both in
sense.
theaters. There was nothing else really opening against twins.
So that's two comedy, pretty iconic movies there.
Yeah,
so.
I mean that's a comedy lineup right there. I'd see Naked Gun of those three.
If this was opening weekend, I would have, in theory, had seen the other two.
Yeah.
If I was this age, then so I probably went for this one.
Yeah,
but
its total domestic run was $111.9 million. That's number 537 of all time. Against that budget, that's real good.
Yeah. What's even more impressive is Schwarzenegger got 20% of the profits and made $35 million through international sales, and TV screenings and DVD, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Probably more since then. I don't know when this number was taken from.
I imagine that number will just continue to rise.
Went up this week, 2 purchases.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was reading that when they were trying to get the movie made, they didn't have the budget to give DeVito or Schwarzenegger a flat, this is how much money, like a salary. So they agreed to do a profit percentage.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that's why he got so much and DeVito got a lot too.
Yeah.
And actually for Schwarzenegger, I think it ended up making him more than any of the Terminator movies.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Because he's been in like all of those.
Yeah, and what a sentence that is.
Yeah. So.
The Terminator series, but
I mean that goes to show Schwarzenegger, he really took his career serious.
Yeah, from like a financial perspective, for sure.
He it's weird. I kind of get that vibe from him where even with his bodybuilding, he took it like as a serious business commitment. His political run, I think he took very serious. And
yeah, I mean, he's got work ethic, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's clear.
And you mentioned this to me. I had heard it before years ago, but I didn't ever really think about it. They wanted to make a triplets after this.
Yeah. And their third triplet was going to be Eddie Murphy.
Brilliant.
I say make it today.
Make it today. Exactly. Oh my God, yes. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was also amazing was they were offered, DeVito and Schwarzenegger wanted to do a movie together. They were offered this or Suburban Commando. Hulk Hogan was looking for a movie, and the studio pretty much came up with this agreement. If they take twins, then Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd were going to do Suburban Commando. But if Schwarzenegger wanted Suburban Commando, they were going to give twins to Hulk Hogan, and Christopher Lloyd. Yeah. So like they were kind of doing a trade.
Odd couple either way.
Yeah. So.
That's funny. Well, I've never heard of Suburban Commando though. Was it good?
Oh, It's 80s good bad, 90s good bad. It's not good.
Okay.
It's Hulk Hogan plays like an alien bounty hunter who ends up, I think, like babysitting a family. I don't remember.
Say no more.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's exactly whatever image you have in your head right now, it's probably right.
It's not good. So one of the major plot points of this movie is reuniting the twins, and they want to find their mother.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was interesting, there was a scene in the movie shot in Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
And during that scene, there was a pair of twins reunited with their lost father because he was in the scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Good job, twins.
Gives heart to the film.
Yeah, it sure does.
Speaking of some heart, Danny DeVito apparently on set constantly made pasta and espresso and sambuca for all of his fellow actors.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it just seemed like everyone had a good time making this movie.
It seems like it'd be a fun movie to make. You know?
Schwarzenegger went on record to state it was the best decision he ever made to be in this film.
I mean,
seeing how much profit he made.
we talked about them dollars.
So
it was also his first comedy, I think.
Yeah.
So say what you want about the movie's quality, but maybe it showed that he could be in comedic roles because he's been in more.
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way.
It showed versatility for sure.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he's a giant Austrian man.
Yeah, and I didn't
muscle.
I didn't even think he was impressive in this by any means, but it just showed that he
had a couple
do
good lines, like a couple good jokes. But there's not a lot of great jokes in this film. It's pretty.
Stallone showed the same thing though in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
God.
Yeah.
So just some look on this film. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars out of 4 and said it was an engaging entertainment with some big laughs and a sort of warm goofiness.
I'd agree that it has a warm goofiness.
Yeah, for sure. Big laughs, not so much. Maybe it's dated in its humor and some of it isn't working as well on us.
Yeah, because some of the jokes fell really flat for me.
Yeah.
And the fish out of water stuff for me is only so entertaining.
Yeah. The first, act of it worked.
Maybe.
You had mentioned your enemy is the pavement, whatever that line is.
Yeah, when he says, I did nothing. The pavement was his enemy.
That's funny.
I want to say that to people now.
Yeah.
But I can't think of when I would. Like, if somebody falls and they're like, why'd you trip him? Because in this case, I tripped him. I'd say, I did nothing. The pavement was his enemy. And the people would be like, what are you talking about? And then I run.
There was a part where Arnold came across a Stallone poster.
Yeah.
For, I think, a Rambo movie or something. And he holds up his arm to Stallone's and laughs at Stallone's muscle in comparison.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
That's all in the first act. There's a lot of good little digs there.
The one other beat that comedy bit that I really liked was when DeVito and Schwarzenegger would be doing the exact same thing, but in their own ways. So DeVito's character would be drinking a beer and eating something, and Schwarzenegger is eating the same thing but drinking milk, and they're doing the same smelling motion and stuff. Some of the time that worked really well and was funny. That one specifically I thought was funny, but why don't we just get into this plot? It's pretty thin. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
We open with the narrator
flashback.
Yeah, flashing back to this crazy part German but part American science experiment.
Yeah.
Clearly there was German influence because Schwarzenegger's Dr. Dad was a German.
Yeah.
And his name is Julius.
And it's kind of like an Ubermensch kind of idea.
But they say it was an American project, so that was the weird thing there. But essentially, they want to take the perfect female specimen, Heather Graham, and they want to load her up with 6 perfect dudes, sperm milkshake.
I've Googled that before.
Yeah, I think many of us have.
So...
As a shout out to Bing, I believe.
Yeah, there you go.
So they do, and they make the perfect baby.
Yeah, they do.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. But
then they find out there was a twin.
Boom.
And on what was his character's name? Julius.
Julius was Schwarzenegger, and Vincent was DeVito.
I think it was supposed to be his 35th birthday.
It was their 35th birthday. Yeah.
On their 30, which made me feel weird because I'm getting closer to that age, and it was wow, okay.
But you look just like Schwarzenegger.
Nothing. I'm closer to the DeVito scale here. But no, so on his 35th birthday, Dr. Dad tells him, hey, you had a twin brother.
Yeah.
And immediately Julius is like, well, I have to find him.
For me, at age 35, that wouldn't be a big change for me.
Yeah.
I would just say, oh.
Yeah, like if your dad called and you said, you have a brother. He lives in Oklahoma. You'd be like, cool. Hang up and you just...
It'd be like, does he text or what?
Is he on Facebook?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't want him on my Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll block him.
Yeah. So...
What would my twin brother's name be?
Skort. I don't know.
I'm glad that's what you came up with.
Brad.
Okay, there you go. Anyways.
Anyway.
There's a really funny scene as Julius packs up and prepares to leave. He gets on this boat, and it makes it look like he's paddling out, but there's very clearly a motor on the boat, and it's flying. Yeah. So it looks funny that he's paddling, but there's very clearly a motor on the boat.
That's funny, yeah.
He's also
going very fast.
Yeah, because there was a motor on the boat.
Yeah.
But he gets to LA, and all they said was he was on some random island in the South Pacific.
Yeah, like they never really specified.
So like I'm picturing like a bunch of like tiny Polynesian villagers just hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you'd think he'd have an accent though, wouldn't he?
I think that's why he had a German doctor dad.
Okay.
So that he can have his accent.
His perfect accent.
Yeah. That's all they wanted from him.
So he gets to LA and he's just kind of moseying around town with his weird silver briefcase.
Yeah.
And like in the first scene, he's just eating like anything he can find, which is kind of funny. I guess that's what you do. Welcome to America. Yeah. And then he's walking around. And then we get our Stallone scene here where he does the flex in front of him. And then we also get cuts to his brother Vincent, who's a real son of a bitch.
He's a small time crook.
Yep.
What do we see him doing?
He's being hustled for money, or not being hustled, but he's hustling people for money, I know. And then he steals a car from a parking garage. David Caruso hooks him up, and he just sells it to someone.
Yeah.
But all I remember is that he owed someone $20,000. And
he was like a bookie or something.
Yeah.
And
there's another scene where he was trying to sell chair cushions, and he got like kicked out of a building or something. Like, we don't want your... Or maybe it was jeans. He was selling jeans.
Oh, no, it was socks. He was selling a box
full
of
it was
socks.
It was socks.
Like, we don't want those socks.
Yeah. I think he had said that they like fell off a truck or something.
Yeah.
But so he's hustling around doing crime. He has an office. He's
basically
though.
My dad in this. So
I mean, I didn't say it,
but it's out there.
He has like an office in a really nice building and stuff, and his door just has all these crazy like odd jobs. It was like sports agent, like acting coach, like all this random stuff.
His secretary.
Yeah, he had a secretary.
Gave her a gift, or she gave him a gift.
She gave him a gift of aqua velva.
Oh yeah.
Then he kissed her, and then he like threw the aqua velva away.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I always felt like aqua velva is supposed to be a skeezy cologne, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
So.
The kiss was like a little rapier than I would have liked, because she was like, no.
Yeah.
You know, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he gets arrested because of all his overdue parking tickets, and he's like giving the cops some lip when he gets pulled over. And then Arnold finds out from someone that his brother's in jail, and so he goes to bail him out, and they meet.
Yeah. So you have your awkward scene where Arnold's just talking to the booth without picking up the phone.
Yeah. And like and DeVito's like making fun of him.
Yeah. And so he finally picks up the phone, they talk, and he's like, "You're my brother."
Sorry. I just wanted to finish that.
And DeVito's character, Vincent, he's just like, how low will they sink that they'll try to send somebody like you to kill me?
He's like, I'm already in prison.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm actually your brother. He's like, then get me out. He's like, all right, I'll go.
But he still doesn't believe him.
Yeah. So doesn't believe him. He gets him out though.
Yep.
And he's like, all right, see you later, sucker.
Yep.
And just takes off. And I think he either goes to his apartment or his office again.
He goes to his office.
Yeah. And then one of the bookies' henchmen shows up.
Yeah. What were the names of these bookies? I forget. They had like a weird name. Bookman or something. It was very to the point. Yeah, the thugs were like the Clanes, and I thought they were claims at first. They were coming to like claim his things.
That's funny.
Sort of. So anyways, the Clanes henchman comes and he's like, yeah, do you have the money? And he's like, no. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to hurt you.
Gonna beat you up.
So then, but Julius is having none of that.
He finds his office in the phone book or something and shows up, and he's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And so he like tries to stop the violence first.
Yeah.
And
to pacify the situation.
Yeah. This clean thug guy keeps attacking him. And he's like, rule number 1 of hostage situations is you do this, or crisis management is you do this. And he keeps listing out these rules.
That was a recurring joke throughout the movie that I did not think was funny.
It worked well enough in this moment. It just faded very fast because he kept doing it.
And the rules didn't make any sense.
No, they didn't. But if he had used different rules for different things, it could have maybe worked out better. But
every time he said a rule, he was talking to a different person.
Yeah.
So, like, the second rule was to a totally different person, and that'd be very confusing for him.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, why are we already on number 2?
So, yeah, we basically get a good Arnie fight scene here.
Well, we don't get a good Arnie fight scene. We get an Arnie fight scene. The action in this movie was very lackluster.
It's better,
very, very low budget.
It's better than the other fight scene, the second one we got.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, we just get a scene
where someone's him around. Yeah,
attacking Arnold. He has a little reaction. He tosses him out into an elevator.
Yep.
And that's it. But then Vincent's like, well, you're pretty useful, man.
He's like, I'm going to keep you around.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, can you help me with something?
Yeah.
And so they go out, and they're going to go steal cars. But during this moment, also, they run into Vincent's girlfriend.
Yep.
Linda.
Linda, played by, you mentioned her name, Chloe Webb.
Chloe Webb.
Yep.
And Linda, we actually met her earlier with her sister, played by Kelly Preston.
The beautiful Kelly Preston.
And we run into them again, and we see that basically, what's her name? Marnie, played by Kelly Preston, usually just disinterested in everything Vincent's doing.
Yeah.
Which
is the right reaction.
Yeah, but now that he has Julius, she kind of runs into Julius by herself at first.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, hello. And then she realizes he's with Vincent, and she's like, oh, weird. But that kind of brings her back into the fold and all things Vincent.
Yeah.
So while that's going on, we also see Vincent's getting Julius to help him steal cars.
Yeah, so he has his car, and then he goes back to that same parking garage where he had stolen one earlier, and Dave Caruso gives him the keys to this Mercedes, I think.
Yeah, Mercedes or BMW. And
he's really excited.
Yeah. What we saw moments before... He just keeps running around there. But what we saw moments before was a really shady-looking guy dropped off this car.
Yep, and put a cassette in the deck.
And then, left the keys and took off.
Wiped it down, yeah.
And so it was weird. You're like, what's up with that? Yeah. But they steal this car anyway, because he's going to sell it.
Yep.
And...
So DeVito's got that, or Vincent has that car, and Julius is driving his car.
Yeah.
There's a totally ridiculous scene here where Julius doesn't know how to drive. At one point, he ends up on 2 wheels with his car, almost at a 90-degree angle to the ground, just, driving in perfectly into a parking spot.
Schwarzenegger did his stunt for that. That was him in the car, and he's so happy while he's driving it because he actually loved being on 2 wheels. He thought it was amazing.
It was a ridiculous scene.
Yeah, he's just like, ah!
Yeah.
So
the whole driving, that was one of the fish out of water moments where it was it went on a little longer than I would have liked. Yeah. We got the bit and it didn't need to keep going, and it did.
Overall, the jokes in this movie, most of them either went too long or they just didn't go far enough into humor.
Yeah.
They didn't punch in hard enough. Yeah. So
what I thought was funny was even after this scene where he clearly doesn't know how to drive and does a terrible job, later in the movie, he's just driving around and no one has a problem with it.
Yeah.
There's 3 drivers and him, and he's the one driving.
What I can assume is since he's the perfect man, he learns super fast.
Yeah, but I still just thought it was a little funny.
No, it is. It's an attention to detail they did not have for this.
Yeah.
So.
And this is where we have our Marnie meets Julius.
Yeah.
He picks up a magazine, he picks up a Playboy, I believe, and is just reading it. And then he drops it or knocks something over.
Yeah, because I think he's shocked there's a naked woman in the magazine.
Yeah. And when he looks up, Kelly Preston's standing there, and he's awestruck, as most of America probably was.
Yeah.
She was looking good. We've kind of said it, but yeah.
Just get it out there.
Yeah, she was real fine.
We hate to turn into 14-year-old boys here, but...
This is the closest I've been to a 14-year-old boy in a while.
Yeah.
What a weird sentence, but...
It's staying in. But no, it's just, when you see someone distractingly attractive in something that's bad, you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. I think she's the most attractive character in any of our movies so far, a third of the way through this thing.
I'm not sure, but she's up there.
Yeah.
She's definitely up there.
I'm not afraid to say it.
I honestly, at the top of my head, can't remember everyone else. But I do remember Kelly Preston, so.
That says something.
She's more attractive than Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, she is.
So.
Anyways, so they have their meet there, and then they leave. There's kind of a B plot going on. The A plot is now this stolen car and this mystery around it. And the B plot is Julius wants to meet his mother and fathers. And he's still sort of trying to convince Vincent that they're actually brothers. And I don't remember exactly what does it, but...
I think it was the New Mexico moment.
Yeah, that's true. So the whole time, Vincent just kind of has him around because he's a good muscle to have around. And
protection.
Yeah. At some point after this meetup, though, I think after this meetup in the grocery store, they eat dinner and stuff. And there's a few gags, like I mentioned earlier, where they're eating the same exact way.
Yeah.
He's teaching him some slang and stuff like that. But then Vincent finds out what's in the car. He plays the tape in the deck, and it's this message that says, deliver the package to wherever in Dallas or Houston it was, and you'll get, what was it, like 5...
Well, at first
there was confusion about... He was confused if it was 1,000 or million, so it had to be unclear in some way, but maybe it just said you'll get your payment. And then there was like a phone number to call.
Then he said, I want 20 when he talked to the guy.
Yeah. And the guy... Yeah, so he calls that number, and he says, I want the payment to be higher, I want it to be 20, thinking it was thousands. And the guy's like, 20 is ridiculous, like $5 million is fine. And then Vincent's like freaking out, and he's like, you're right, $5 million is fine.
So his initial idea is, I'm just going to go do this myself.
Yeah.
And then Linda shows up with Marnie, and she's like, you're not doing this by yourself.
Well, she's like, let me come with you.
Yeah. And because he actually tells her what's going on.
Yeah.
And then with...
So Julius, simultaneously to this, met one of his 6 fathers.
Yeah.
Who's just like living at a weird like workout, like a CrossFit estate somewhere, and has a huge family. And was basically like, oh, your mom is in Santa Fe or something like that. She's not here. She doesn't want any part of us or something. So Julius is coming to tell Vincent that while all this is going down, when the 2 sisters are there as well.
And one of the keys to this is they were always told that he was told his mom died in childbirth.
Yeah.
Vincent had been told that his mother just gave him up, didn't want him.
Because he grew up in an orphanage.
Yeah. And so... It was kind of a point of conflict, but then Vincent was like, well, I do want to meet her and find out why she rejected me.
Yeah.
So they decide, let's all do this. Let's road trip.
So they transfer this from a fish out of water movie to a road trip movie.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And
there's some really good montages of the car driving right to left on the screen through different vistas to show you that time and location has changed. I like when movies do creative things with these kinds of scenes. I mean, this movie did not at all. It's literally just the car driving through the Grand Canyon and then through the desert, and then...
It was kind of creative when his shirt broke off his chest.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of this montage, No,
I know.
An example would be Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright's, like the police movie he made, when Simon Pegg's character, the main character, has to go from his London job to the job out in the middle of England. The way they do that, rather than just show him, like, get on the train, show the sign of the name of the city, they show... his like phone signal getting worse, they like the jarring noise, the weather getting bleaker and stuff like that. It's just more creative. It uses those moments to build your comedy rather than just to filler you into the next set piece.
Edgar Wright remaking Twins would be amazing.
Yeah, Edgar. Love to have you on the pod, first of all.
Channing Tatum, and who else?
My mind immediately says Jonah Hill because they're pretty much doing that in 21 Jump Street, and it's amazing.
Yeah, but he's not criminally enough in that series.
Just War Dogs.
He could probably do it, though.
No, you gotta... When you have Channing Tatum, you're just going to want him to be with Jonah Hill, so you gotta change it up a little bit. You go Chris Hemsworth, and you go Michael Cera.
I feel like we always hit them, too. You could do... Vincent could be Aziz Ansari.
Okay.
And then who would you do for
Dev Patel?
That's perfect specimen is what we're saying.
I like Dev. No, okay, fine. If you don't think Dev Patel is perfect for some reason, who's our perfect specimen then? Zac Efron. Aziz Ansari and Zac Efron. That's a movie.
That could work.
Edgar, just call. We'll talk about it off the air.
Figure it all out.
Yeah. Enter Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they go and they talk to another father who's like a scientist.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's not even a father. He's just one of the scientists who was in charge of it.
The guy who they first tracked down, that Julius first tracked down, was like, you got to talk to this professor in New Mexico. He's a jerk, though.
Yeah.
And so they find him, and he is a jerk. He's like, I don't want to talk to you guys. Yeah. Get out.
And then Julius, like, kicks the door down.
He, like, finally rages. He's been peaceful this whole time.
Yeah. Because he doesn't like violence.
Yeah. Kicks the door down, And then he's like, you're going to tell us what's that mean? This is a picture. You're in this. This is this.
Yeah.
Explain.
After he kicked the door down, he was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So they go down to their sperm milkshake lab and explain everything that happened. This is when Vincent's finally like, oh, wow, like, this actually is real.
Yeah.
He explains that the mother didn't actually die. This is where we find out the mother's actually alive. That she lives here, somewhere else along the path. And so they go for it there. They said, did they tell the twins here that she doesn't know that they're alive?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But this is also where this a-hole doctor to Vincent is like, we created the perfect specimen. Everything that was left from the specimen created you. You're literal human garbage. And
he was pretty rude about it.
Yeah, no, he was a lot harsher than he should have been. He should have been like, you're below average.
Yeah.
But he was just like, you literally are the worst.
But he's not, he's not a millennial. The millennials, they coddle, but this is Gen X,
Yeah.
So.
I guess. But, no, so Vincent kind of has like a breakdown here.
Yeah.
His whole worldview, because he's always thought he was like better than everyone, but like a struggling criminal who's better than everyone. But yeah, so he's just like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And so his solution is, I'm just going to take off on my own.
Well,
but they don't let him. They stick with him.
Yeah.
So
would have been a dick move too.
Yeah. And so they all get together and they go to the one location, like you said, where he said your mother's still alive. She doesn't know about you though. Yeah. Go here.
Yeah, and it's like this hippie commune for art. They can't get in because they're like not on the list or they don't have a meeting or whatever. So they sneak in. They're just walking around and they see like this beautiful older woman like painting and like that must be her. And then this other woman who looked like a gardener comes up to them and is like, oh, are you looking for name of mother that I don't remember? Marianne Benedict. They're like, are you looking for Marianne? They're like, yeah, there she is. And so she walks him up the hill right past that woman and like up to an exit or something. Or no, she walks him up just to this building and he's like, hey, where are you taking us? I'm pretty sure that was her. And she's like, oh, well, Marianne died. She built this place though before she died for artists to paint and stuff. And they're both like pretty ticked off. So they just leave.
Yeah.
This is where Vincent's like really mad again.
Yeah. He's just like, fuck everything.
Yeah. And this time he actually does abandon them.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we cut back to the lady who just walked him out. And she's like, can you believe those realtors? They'll say anything to buy this land. Yeah. They tried to say they were my kids.
Yeah, and then this one of the other ladies is like, what do you mean, Marianne?
Yeah. Just real on the nose there.
But did we miss the bar scene, though? Did that happen before this?
Yeah, it definitely probably happened before this.
So the weirdest...
There's two scenes we would have missed then. Yeah, so that's the whole hotel sequence.
Yeah. So right before this, we're a little all over the place, but... they're stopping for the night, I guess, before they go to meet the mother. And Julius mentions to Vincent that he's like a virgin, And Vincent's like, oh, well, you're going to get with Marnie tonight.
Yeah.
And so they buy matching suits and they go out to this weird bar, like honky tonk biker bar.
I think the musician Jeff Beck was playing guitar
from the band Beck. So then they do this really weird coordinated dance, which involved mostly spinning and groping.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it was the four of them, being both sets of twins, I guess, or the twins and the sisters, were doing this very strangely choreographed dance, and there was a bunch of other people dancing around them, but doing a totally different dance. So it was just very strange.
They're probably just like, there goes those city folk.
Yeah, really. But so they're just having the time of their lives. Marnie and Julius kiss.
Yeah.
Probably Julius'
There's a lot of
first
butt grabbing.
A lot of butt grabbing.
Yeah.
A lot of zoom ins on butt grabs. Kelly Preston probably got some bruises from that. Arnie's got a grip.
He does. So then they sit down and they start eating and drinking and having a good time.
Yeah, but then the Klain brothers show up again. They've kind of been trying to track him down ever since since Vincent had stolen that Mercedes. Yeah. They track him down and they're like, hey, like, we're gonna like kill or rape your girls. Yeah. Give us money.
It's over.
Yeah. And so I think this is where the second rule of crisis management comes out. I don't know what it was. I don't care.
It's like, always do something.
Yeah, always like kill your enemy. And then
you
he
always
does.
Leave a note.
Yeah. This is a really crappy fight sequence. It's like very quick cuts. There's no way to know what's happening. But I think some heads get bonked together like coconuts at one point.
There's a chair bashing.
Yeah, there's a chair bash for sure.
Some throwing.
I think Vincent does a few nut punches because he's at nut level of all the men in this movie.
That man's nut punched.
Yeah. So then they grab their ladies and they leave and they go back to the hotel where there's 2 beds, but Julia says he prefers to sleep on the floor. So he's setting up like a floor mattress while Vincent's like in his pajamas, like drinking champagne. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going next door. And he's like, oh, and you'll be back? He's like, no.
He's like, not till morning.
Yeah. And then he leaves. And there's another knock at the door. And Julius is like, Vincent must have locked himself out. And it was the door. And it was beautiful Kelly Preston.
And some
an enchanting robe.
Outfit. Yeah.
She's like, oh, they're in the other room, so I'll stay with you.
So she climbs into... Well, I think they bump into each other. Do they kiss here or do they just bump?
They didn't kiss. Yeah. You thought they were going to.
She climbs into bed. Yeah. He still sets up his floor bed. I don't know.
Yeah. I would be nervous around her too.
Yeah. And so she's like... She gets like 3 poses in on the bed before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, she does.
Then he's just laying on the floor looking dumb. Yeah. And she's like, oh, whatever. She's like, this bed's too lumpy.
Yeah, she says, oh, the bed's too lumpy. Yeah. And she jumps down onto the floor.
And then you assume, when they come back later, he has a big smile on his face. Yeah. We cut to a conversation at the same time, though, with
Vincent
Linda. And Vincent and Linda. And basically, they're just discussing... She's like, I don't want to just be like a side piece. Yeah. Vincent. I want to be your main girl. And he's like, you are my main girl.
She's like, all right, well, I'll move in then.
Yeah, and he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So it becomes like a point of conflict for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm fine with us being like, normal.
Yeah.
But, Vincent's a free bird. He probably said that.
Probably.
He's like, I don't want you to move in.
Let's just talk about it another day.
Yeah.
So they kind of set up some small drama there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have...
It's worth noting that there's no reason to care about the Vincent-Linda relationship when the other one is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kelly Preston. Like, it's literally the ugly duckling relationship.
Yeah. What I like, though, is that they were the established relationship.
Yeah.
Because, like, you expect in a comedy for the 2 beautiful people to be attracted to each other and then for them to be like, hey, uglies, get together. And so this one is just like we said, she's just kind of plain normal-looking woman.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito... I'm going to go on record to say this. At this point in time, he wasn't like a grotesque little goblin. He's just like a swarthy, creepy guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's not grotesque by any means, but he's got some real greasy, balding ponytail hair.
I know you're not big into It's Always Sunny, but if you've seen enough of the grotesque things he does in that, like, he really plays up fringe status in that. Sure. So to see him here more normal...
Yeah. Like, at least in comparison.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just kind of goofy. But I do like that they were the established relationship that led to the other relationship. That's kind of a good play on it. Yeah. So.
But anyway, so then we had our mismatch order here. Now they go and talk to the mother.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Vincent's so mad he abandons them and just drives away. He's driving to Dallas to get his money.
Yeah.
He had told Linda about it, though, because she saw, the package on the car is like a motor.
It's like a jet engine.
Yeah, that's like a high-tech new model that
they stole from another company.
Yeah, that was stolen from another company that this other company led by Beetroot McKinley. Which is a ridiculous name.
Really ridiculous.
It's his company. He wants to get the engine so that he can steal.
Reverse engineer. Yeah. So what's interesting here is the whole time Vincent starts talking to Beetroot and like he makes the deal.
Yeah.
And then Beetroot realizes it's not the original guy, but he's like, I still want my engine. I'll pay you, man.
Yeah.
And then the original guy...
Vincent's like, you don't care who gives you the engine.
Yeah.
Right?
The original guy is also like an assassin or something. So he's killed like 6 people since then.
Trying to find Vincent and the package.
Yeah. So the whole time he's like, whatever. And then Beetroot's like, dude, I don't need to pay you shit.
Yeah.
Because like I got this guy.
Yeah.
And so that guy's like, well, I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
So it kind of just leaves it there.
Yeah. He's like, one more thing to fix.
Yeah. Vincent is driving by himself.
Yeah.
But Julius at the same time is like, ladies, I got to send you back.
Yeah.
He like gets them a plane out and...
Yeah, Julius is much more gentlemanly about it.
He gets them a plane back home. He gets himself a ride or a plane.
He also flies to Dallas.
Yeah, to Dallas. Or El Paso. It was something like that.
Yeah, maybe it was El Paso.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It was Texas.
Yeah.
So it could be Houston.
That's not a shot at Texas.
No, it's not at all.
It's just irrelevant to the plot.
They're in Texas is all you need to. The man's name Beetroot McKinley. It's Texas.
They're in Texas.
So,
This sets up our final set piece here. Mm-hmm. We have at this big old like factory, this massive plant.
Before we get there, we had one more twin sequence.
Oh yeah.
So Julius finally kind of embracing the darkness that Vincent has taught him.
Yeah.
Steals a car. He's walking around town doing stuff. It keeps showing him kind of doing the same things as Vincent.
Yeah.
And then he's like looking around like if Vincent does something with his hand, Julius starts doing it with his hand.
I thought this was super stupid.
It was super stupid. But basically, they're twin connections bringing them together.
Yeah, it was like I think did he sip something like burn his mouth at one point, and then Julius was like, "Ooh." Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was so dumb.
It was real goofy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we get to the factory that you mentioned.
Yeah, so Vincent is meeting with Beetroot McKinley and his gang. They lay this like briefcase full of money on the floor. Vincent gives him the car and the engine and everything, and Beetroot's like, "Do you want to count the money?" And Vincent's like, No, that's fine." Yeah. He's like, "I'll just get a ride into town." And then they just drive off without him.
They make it seem at first like they were going to shoot him.
Yeah.
And he's like, give him what he wants.
Yeah.
And he has a gun out, and he's like, here's a suitcase, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like you said, they speed off, and then you hear pow pow when a crash.
Pow pow when a crash.
Yeah. And you see Beetroot and his boy are dead.
Yep. Their car crashes. They're both already keeled over.
Yeah.
Just sniper.
So Vincent starts running around, and we see the original sniper. He's up there. And
it's that assassin from before.
The assassin delivery man, whatever he is.
Yeah. He's got the whole area kind of on watch with his sniper rifle. So what Vincent does, he just runs out there.
Yeah.
Like across the way.
Like anybody would.
But he survives. So he gets into this weird like underground piping thing.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of running around there, and the sniper's like in pursuit. And they kind of cat and mouse for a little while, for like 2 minutes of them just like dipping through here, and then the sniper finally catches up to him, right? And then he leaves the briefcase.
No, actually, he's running down that hallway, or like that secret tube.
Yeah.
And he hears...
Oh, that's right.
He hears
right.
Julius.
Julius shows up, yeah.
Julius is like, "What are you doing?"
to
the gunman. And he's like, "What are you doing?"
He's like,
that's like literally how it went. Yeah.
Vincent hears this as he's making his escape.
Yeah.
He's frustrated because he was going to get away before Julius showed up. But now he's got to go back because he knows this guy won't mess around and he'll kill him.
Yeah.
As he's about to kill him, Vincent comes back. He's like, "Wait, don't kill him. Here's the money."
He's like, "I'm so mad at you, Vince. At Julius. I'm so mad at you."
Yeah.
But
Julius just wanted to save him, though.
Yeah. Julius, I mean, he had good intentions.
Yeah.
And so he's like, the guy's like, "Well, I'm just going to kill both of you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wait, you're forgetting crisis negotiation number 3.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's that?"
This is where the big line should be.
Yeah.
In Something Mom Will Shoot, I believe the line was, "Your ass is grass and I'm the lawnmower."
Yeah.
And here there was no good line. I don't even remember.
Well, they
what
said
it was.
like look up or change or something.
Yeah.
They basically pulled the
like
lever.
always look up.
Yeah, and like I would say about 650 feet of iron.
It was
steel,
definitely more than that.
Chain, like thousands of feet of chain fell upon this guy
into like a 15-foot high mound.
Yeah, like
it was so stupid.
An ungodly amount of chain fell on him. Not on the briefcase. The briefcase
is fine.
Millions of dollars is fine.
Yeah. 5 million.
Yeah.
So they take the briefcase and they just leave. And Vincent wants to keep it. And Julie's like, "No, we have to turn it into someone."
Yeah.
And then they turn the engine back into the original company, and they're kind of lauded as heroes. Yeah.
It shows a newspaper clipping.
Yep.
And Marianne is like, would you look at that? And
she just needed to see their names in print.
Yeah, it just shows her looking at it, but then it cuts back to Vincent's office.
Yep.
Which looks a lot nicer.
Oh, yeah.
Like the signs redone.
There's not furniture being repossessed.
Yeah. And so one of them is like, what was their last name?
Benedict.
They're like Benedict Corporation, think tank group, or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
It was silly.
Yeah.
But
2 desks now in the office.
Yeah, 2 desks.
I believe Vincent was doing work and Julius was doing a crossword, if I remember correctly.
But Vincent was just finished calculating that he paid off all of his debts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was like, and we have 4,000 or 12,000 left or something.
Yeah.
He's like, what a shame.
Well, what was funny is it was $5 million, and Vincent kept saying, like, "It's a good thing we turned that $4 million in."
But they never like played off that. They should have.
It was just like that was the whole joke. And then Marianne shows up with a massive teddy bear, which I think is what you do after 35 years of abandoned motherhood.
It's not her fault. She didn't know.
No, it isn't her fault. But still,
no,
they're
right.
adults. They're not children.
Yeah. I mean, well, you say that, but they both stood up and went, "Mama!"
Yeah.
And then they all hugged her.
And then, oh no, the movie does not end here.
Then we cut to like a carnival.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a wedding because both Marnie and Linda was wearing white.
I think everybody was wearing white.
Everyone was wearing white. That's how happy this was.
I think in the 80s, if you went to like a carnival or like a dinner party, everyone just wore white.
Why not? Yeah. As long as before Labor Day, am I right?
It's like the Catalina wine mixer.
It's like Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So they just like start running around this merry-go-round, and then out comes 2 twin strollers, one pushed by Julius Benedict and one pushed by Vincent, and they both have twin sons.
Yeah.
And everybody's happily ever after. They pick up all the sons so you can see them all. Just a goofy way to end the movie.
It is. It's a goofy movie.
It is a very goofy movie.
I mean, I think Ebert was right when he said it was like warm and goofy.
Yeah, it is warm and goofy.
They had chemistry.
The two of them did, yeah. There were little moments that I liked. When Vincent was in his apartment, you could see that he had all the same furniture and then like boxes of piled up of the same furniture, and you can assume that he stole it. There's a bunch of like stolen sporting goods still in the boxes behind him. Little details like that I really liked, but the big jokes like those crisis management things, them mirroring each other's motions, like when that twin sense, you know, like Julius would do something that he had no reason to do, but it would save Vincent. So like, how'd you know to do that? And he'd be like, we're brothers.
Yeah.
Of course I did that. It's a horrible impression.
It worked better in the subtle moments, like you said, with the
food.
The
subtle moments, but in the plot critical moments, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marnie
and Linda honestly didn't have really any character.
No.
The only like characteristic of Marnie was she did not like Vincent. Other than that, she was a very milquetoast pretty woman. And then Linda was just kind of like a trashier version who did like Vincent. Yeah. That was like it to them.
There was some stuff about Linda I liked, like we said in the conversation, where she's like not just going to be another side
she was very protective of him. Yeah.
And she did genuinely like him. And I think that could have been explored more.
Yeah.
Like I said, their relationship wasn't treated as it's gross. It was treated normal.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah,
there's good choices here.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Ivan Reitman, I mean, he did Ghostbusters, and one of my favorite things with Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 is like Rick Moranis' character.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing that Reitman would take these characters that were kind of weird, and typically in movies are treated as like gross, or dorky, and just treat them as like normal.
Yeah, just like, with weird characteristics.
Yeah, and Ghostbusters. The first one, they kind of make fun of Rick Moranis' character a little bit. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But then when they save him, they're not like, you loser, we saved you. They're like, are you okay, man?
Yeah.
And then in the second one, he's like a friend.
Yeah.
He joins them. He becomes a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, I like that in movies. I like seeing that Vincent was this weird little criminal man who wasn't like treated like he was like scum.
He was by some people.
When he was scummy.
Yeah, when he was scummy, he was.
But they gave him like growth in a sense.
Yeah, the only other thing was, other than in his relationships, in his actual actions, even at the end when they heavily insinuated that he kept $1 million tricking his brother, like the actual things he does are all very deplorable. Like he litters. Like every time he gets a parking ticket, he just throws it on into the street.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. He keeps $1 million from his brother there right at the end. Just like all that stuff. It made it hard to root for the character. I rooted for the character because it's Danny DeVito and he looked ridiculous.
I think
he looked like he was pulled out of My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the weird uncles who was in that one scene right before the wedding.
I think I'm just trying to say, like, I like that DeVito was allowed to be kind of like just this weird guy, but
I couldn't root for it.
I take that over The Perfect Man is what I'm saying.
Yeah, which isn't compelling either.
Yeah. It's not compelling. The most compelling thing they had for him was that he was a virgin, but even then, they didn't really make like it. What I can't remember what other movie we said. It'd have been funny if he lasted like 1 minute, and she was like, "It's okay, it happens to everyone."
Yeah. That's a pretty constant joke.
Yeah,
right. That happens in American Pie, doesn't it?
But I'm saying with a muscled Arnold Schwarzenegger,
the duality of it's interesting.
It would have been funnier than that.
So. And like, I don't even love raunchy comedies or anything, but they should have explored that part of it more. Like he picks up that Playboy right away, and like that's it to that.
Yeah.
But he should have been like gawking at like every woman or something, or they go to the beach and he's like, they let the women wear that and stuff like that.
Well, they set up the precedent when he saw like the lingerie in the beginning. He's like, women wear this?
Yeah. And the creepy guy's like, oh yeah, they do, if you're lucky.
That's probably the most realistic part of this movie is that creepy dude walking by that says that. Yeah. So, because that guy is real. I've seen that guy before.
There's just pieces to every of these characters that works, but there's also pieces that aren't compelling about them. And so it makes it tough for a movie that's entirely comedy from the dialogue, essentially. Like, there's a little bit of action comedy, but not much. And there's not, like, gags. There's the gag with the car where it's, like, not just the two wheels on the car. Like, that's a gag. But there's not, like, any real good gags.
Like I said, it doesn't go far enough on certain things, and then the rest of it's just kind of there. Yeah,
so it's just, it doesn't go far enough, so it's just not that funny.
Yeah. And you got to think, you mentioned Scrooged and Naked Gun, both of which are, I mean, they're more comedy staples than this.
Oh, for sure. So, Naked Gun is a pillar.
Exactly.
Leslie Nielsen.
I mean, Scrooged, you have Bill Murray. Yeah. So
all-time comedians.
Some titans of comedy in there. And then you have Twins, which is... It has moments, and I'm sure at the time it worked better. Yeah. But
yeah, it seems like it didn't age great, the comedy, but it's hard to kind of put yourself into the 1988 hat, especially when you were born in 1991.
I will say, I mean, when this movie ends, I wasn't angry.
I'd like to see them make this movie again, except it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Freeze, or Mr. Freeze, and Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, like, you don't explain why.
But they're still brothers.
And they're still twin brothers, separated at birth, but they're just reprising those characters.
They were in another movie together, too.
What movie?
Junior.
I have no idea what it is.
I believe Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes the first pregnant man. They're all... I think DeVito's a gynecologist. I want to say...
That's about all I need to hear.
Schwarzenegger is a geneticist. I want to say he's married, or he was married to Emma Thompson. And they come up with some plan to make the first pregnant man, and they do. There's this whole plot with it.
So the whole movie
I want to
is
say
like
Frank Langella might be in it too.
It's the whole movie comedy around watching Arnold Schwarzenegger like have hunger cravings and
everything you're picturing.
His feet are swollen and Lamaze closes.
Then there's some kind of like chase involved. I want to say I saw it. It wasn't good, but it might not.
Doesn't sound good.
I don't remember if it's good. Honestly, I don't know what the ratings are, but. They went on to make another movie, at least. So.
There you go. So they clearly liked each other.
Well, let's hope they do triplets.
Yeah. Triplets, I think, still needs to happen.
Yeah.
I read the other day that Chris Columbus is really pushing to get Gremlins 3 made. Like, Ivan Reitman, let's get on triplets.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
For real.
It's kind of confusing because Twins implies it's a sequel, because 2, and then Triplets implies it's a third. Twins 2 doesn't sound right.
Quadruplets would be the threequel.
Yeah. So it's just weird because you got 4 and 3. You got 3 and 2.
Yeah.
You know. Maybe that's why it wasn't made.
Maybe. Audiences
liked Twins, though.
That's true. I mean...
You can make a prequel just about Vincent growing up in the orphanage.
God.
Who plays young Vincent in the orphanage? Logan Lerman.
I was going to go with Miles Teller. I think he could pull the grafting off more than Logan Lerman.
Yeah. Lerman's
the
too
grifting,
nice.
Not grafting. The grifting.
Grafting is like to put skin together for burn victims, right?
He could do that too.
Yeah,
but he would do the grifting better.
He definitely would do the grifting better. You need someone like trashier and younger to be in an orphanage, but there's not enough like trashy kid. Jake Lloyd.
Too soon.
Too soon. Do you have any more Twins thoughts?
Not really, man. Kelly Preston's hot.
Kelly Preston's real hot.
That's all we got.
If you want to watch Twins, that's the reason to watch Twins, in my opinion.
Really thought you were going to say those are the Twins to watch.
No, I'm not gross, Max. Max, where can the good people find us?
You can find us in a genetic facility making a milkshake or at thecriticalbreakdown.com.
Please find us at thecriticalbreakdown.com.
You can find me and Kelly Preston driving on 2 wheels in sunny 1988 Los Angeles. Or you can find me at Max Rivera Film on Twitter.
You can find me and Kelly Preston sleeping in a lumpy bed. Or find me at breakdown_Scott. I think I just said underscorn.
Underscorn.
Which, write that down. That's going to be my movie about an author who's really petty.
Okay.
Our email is thecriticalbreakdownpodcast@gmail.com. We're on iTunes and all that crap.
We love ratings and reviews.
Love them.
Love them.
Let's start 2017 off right, people.
Yeah. Listen to us. Give us a rating and review.
Yep. And then find your sister's phone and do the same thing.
Yeah. It's like a friendship bread or like some kind of pyramid.
It's just like a friendship bread.
Get like 3 phones and give us a review.
Yeah. And if you do, send us an email and we'll send you a thank you note.
Yeah. We will.
That's a promise.
Josh Rivera did our artwork.
And Jason Brown did our music.
And Walter is the podcast dog.
And we're the podcast twins.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Next week on The Critical Breakdown.
We're going to jam with Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, and Bill Murray. That's right. We're watching
Space Jam. Rated 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. Come on and jam.
Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make